How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and today I wanted to talk about the most requested characters for Kombat Pack 2 in Mortal Kombat 11. Now, of course, there have been leaks for this game that I will not spoil in this video. However, the characters that were leaked were not included in this poll. Okay, so for the first poll, we had Tanya, Havik, Serena, Li Mei, and Ashura. And out of those 5 characters, Tanya won by a landslide. Now, let me start off with one thing. If we don't get Tanya in MK11, I do think that MKX Tanya is the best she's been. Not just because she's the most unique, but she's also a really good character who was very top tier, super strong character, pretty much good at everything, and best of all, for me personally, really good mobility. That made her a lot of fun. Now, of course, it also made her a bit lame later on in the game because she became really good at zoning in her pyro variation, but outside of that, she still had some very good rushdown variations and a lot of fun mix-ups. So even if Tanya doesn't make it into Mortal Kombat 11, I think she was very strong in MKX and possibly the strongest she's ever been out of all the games. However, in saying that, it looks like everybody wants Tanya to come back in Kombat Pack 2, at least out of this list. Now, if I'm being honest, if I was to vote, I likely would have picked Havik. Havik has shown up multiple times in the comics, and I think he looks really cool. His appearance is very unique, and so is his fighting style. He's from the Chaos realm, and he also came from the 3D era games, so he was a bit goofier. I definitely think they would want to tone down a lot of that goofy aspect of his attacks and just make him creepier overall. There were some moves where he would like break his knees backwards to throw a fireball really low, and he'd twist his head backwards and all that goofy stuff. He was kind of hurting himself the whole time he hurt you. And I don't mind that aspect of his attacks, but they were just a bit too goofy because the 3D era, so maybe tone them down just a little bit. And then in third place we had Serena, which had me very surprised. Now, outside of having a really cool origin, I'm not sure what you can really do with Serena. From what I've seen in past games, she was kind of just girl who throws knives and has a very awesome outfit. So kind of like a female Kano almost, only without the cybernetic enhancements. She was just girl who throws knives. Now lore-wise, she has a really cool backstory. She worked for Quan Chi. I'm pretty sure she's part demon from the Netherrealm, so that's all really cool, but we never really saw that in her gameplay. So if they did bring her into MK11, that's a pretty good blank slate. They could do pretty much anything with her and it would make sense. Especially since she is from the Netherrealm, you could have her do really cool demonic stuff like throwing fireballs, summoning fire from the ground, catching herself on fire, all that cool stuff. Maybe she does witchcraft, make her the female Quan Chi. That could be pretty cool. She's like a sorceress. I think that could also work as well, but I think Serena would actually be a really good addition to Mortal Kombat 11, even though a majority of people didn't vote for her here. And then behind Serena, we have Li Mei. Now, there's not much to say about Li Mei. She started off being pretty interesting in the game and then got less interesting as every single game went on. Kind of like Snoke in the Star Wars films, started off super interesting but then kind of went downhill. So the first time she appeared, it was because Liu Kang was dead, and they still wanted to have a Liu Kang style character, so Li Mei was almost literally a female Liu Kang. She even made all the Bruce Lee sound effects like all that stuff. And instead of the flying bicycle kicks, she had the flying punches that she did. She was pretty much a female Liu Kang. Except for her personality, she only cared about her clan and that was about it, which in later games made her actually evil because she was selling out all the good guys if it served to benefit her clan, and sometimes even if it just served to benefit her. This girl straight up marries Onaga at one point, and I'm not making that up. That's the best choice for her to save her skin, so she does it. However, with that in mind, we do see her in MKX just like Serena, and her personality seems nothing like that. She seems like a regular citizen who wants to keep her people safe, and that's about all we see from her. And her outfit actually was pretty cool too, though you couldn't tell because the lighting was terrible, but the concept art made it look okay. And then sadly in last place we have Ashura, a character who is so unfamiliar to a lot of players that even I don't know very much about her. I do believe she was like a demon who came from the Netherrealm and then redeemed herself and became a good person, or maybe she's just chaotic neutral. When you look at her appearance, she seems like a female Raiden. That's kind of how she looks, and she seems like a very goody two-shoes kind of character, and I think she's trying to look that way, but a lot of her fatalities are more evil, so it kind of seems like she's a wolf in sheep's clothing, but I do think she has good intentions at heart, but she has that evil backstory, I think. I have to do some more digging, but Ashura is one of those characters that if you even know her name, you're a pretty deep MK fan. Alright, so now on to the next poll. So this one was between Rain, Kenshi, Stryker, Takeda, and Nitara, a personal favorite of mine. And out of all these characters, to no one's surprise, we had Rain in first place. Not by a ton though. Right behind him we had Kenshi. And then pretty close to Kenshi we had Takeda, who is his son. Well, I call him Scorpion's son because Scorpion did most of the job raising him, but by blood he is Kenshi's son. Let's go ahead and talk about all these characters. So Rain. I loved Rain so much in MK9, and I very much wanted to play him in MKX. And I'm noticing a trend here. A lot of characters that were in MK9 but not MKX did a really good job on these polls. And Rain is one of those characters. Now of course a lot of people thought for a long time that Rain was going to be in the base roster because the character in Conquest mode in the crypt looked like Rain from a distance. Now of course that wasn't the case, but one reason that I want to see Rain in the game is because the water effects. This game has really cool blood effects on characters like Scarlet, and I feel like it would be pretty similar for Rain. The water effects would look really cool. And I feel like in past games, the Rain was kind of just an accessory. He didn't mainly fight with it. He was mostly just punching, kicking you, karate chopping, even some lightning, and every now and then he would use water. I want to see him fight with mostly water. Kind of like Katara from Avatar. That's what I want to see. Just have him sling water around everywhere and beat you with it. He's making water whips, he's doing the bubble stuff again, he's making geysers come up from the ground, all that cool stuff. That's what I want to see. So I think if I was to take part in this poll, I would have picked Rain as well. And right behind him we had Kenshi. Everyone loves Kenshi. The guy's a blind swordsman with telekinesis. What's there not to love? He was in MKX and MK9, so if he sat this one out, it wouldn't be a big heartbreaker for me, but I do understand why a lot of people love him. Oddly enough, he's one of the few characters to survive from the 3D era. A lot of those characters do get mostly ignored by NetherRealm, but Kenshi usually makes it in. And then in third place we have his son Takeda. I think Takeda deserves to be in this game more than anybody else on this list, even if he's not the one that I want personally. He was the favorite of all the combat kids for the most part. Maybe Cassie Cage was a bit more popular because of her parents, but that's about it. Takeda was the one that was the most fun to watch and the most fun to play, and I think everyone liked his personality the most too. And I just want to say, in the comics, his personality is even cooler because it has this darker subtone to it. Which makes sense because he was raised by Scorpion, but his origin is also super dark. The guy went through a lot of horrible things at a very young age. And I feel like Takeda's long-reaching attacks would fit very well in Mortal Kombat 11, though his teleport might be a bit annoying. We might have a second Scorpion on our hands, and I don't think anybody wants that, but I do still think he would fit very well in the game. And then tied for last place, we have Stryker and Natara. Now Stryker, I do understand he's cool because he's a human, and for being a human, the guy accomplishes some pretty impressive feats. Fighting off Kentaro, that's no small feat. However, in saying that, the combat kids pretty much invalidate him because Cassie Cage also uses guns, and so does Jackie, and so does Sonya. All of those characters really can be Stryker, only better because they also have powers. I mean, aside from Jackie, but Jackie has really cool combat skills. She's not just using weapons, and she has the whole Jax thing going for her, where she's like a little mini Jax, so that kind of works in her favor. I feel like compared to all of those Earthrealm characters, Stryker just doesn't need to be in the game. I certainly wouldn't object to him being in the game at all. That could be really cool, but I feel like he just doesn't fit in MK11. However, Natara, now that would be a really cool character to have in Mortal Kombat 11 because she has gigantic wings. I want to see some flying attacks, and I don't just mean hovering like Raiden and Sindel. I mean moves where she flies at you from the air and like dive bombs and kicks you. Maybe she grabs you from the sky and it's a command grab, she drags you across the floor. Maybe she throws you against the wall and bounces you off it for a combo extender. All that stuff would be awesome. I really do think Natara could bring an entirely new playstyle to the game and she would look fantastic. Now obviously she's not very popular, so I could understand if NetherRealm never includes her in a future game, but I think it would be a missed opportunity because she would look really cool in motion. And next up we have the final poll, and this one was by far the closest, and you'll understand why, because this voting poll included Ermac, Melina, Human Smoke, Reptile, and the Cyborg, so both Cyrax and Sector into one category. And out of all those characters, in first place we had Melina. Now I understand Melina is one of those characters who has split the fan base. People hate her and people love her. I'll be honest, even though I do love Melina a lot, and I was initially very disappointed that she wasn't in Mortal Kombat 11, she was also very strong and very fun in Mortal Kombat X. So if she never makes it into MK11, I would understand, but at the same time, I feel like it would be a very good decision financially from NetherRealm because everyone seems to want this character back, or at least a lot of people do. Not everyone. Once again, she splits the fan base, but a lot of people do want her. Now keep in mind, I do acknowledge how there are some toxic members of the fan base that are just ruining it for everyone, but please understand that most people who like Melina aren't crazy like that. They're not making death threats, they're not hateful and angry and toxic. Most of them are just regular players like myself who do like the character. And then in second place we have Smoke, most likely the human version of Smoke, which is why I did not include him with the Cyborgs category. I'm not gonna lie, Human Smoke looks really cool, and watching Smoke gameplay in MKX got me really hype, and I liked him a lot in MK9 too, but just like Liu Kang, his combos were a lot of loops. It was the same string over and over again, so I didn't like watching that, but it was still cool that he would throw the smoke bomb down and teleport you to him. That's always been really cool. I love his phase ability where he goes behind you or through projectiles. That's all really cool. His teleport was way too fast. You guys think that Scorpion's teleport is crazy. No. Scorpion's teleport was literally instant. Now, to make it a bit more fair, when you blocked it, you had way more time to realize you had blocked it than other teleports, so it was even easier to punish. That kind of did balance it out, but just know, his teleport was even faster than Scorpion's. In summary, it would be really cool to see Human Smoke return, as long as he's different enough from the MKX iteration, because we did just have him in the past game, so if they do bring back Human Smoke, I want him to play very differently, while still being similar enough that we understand that it's Smoke, but just try something new. That'd be a lot of fun. Make him fresh. And then right behind Smoke with only 2% less votes, we have Ermac. Ermac would be really cool in MK11, especially since we already see his new character model in the crypt. I think that still has many players dumbfounded, because while a lot of characters do show up in the crypt and they're dead, Ermac is the only one who got redesigned. So it really is a head scratcher. You're wondering, why is there all that work to redesign him if you're just gonna kill him and then never use him? All joking aside, I really do think Ermac would be a good fit for Mortal Kombat 11. I understand in MKX we had Kenshi and Ermac, that's a bit too much telekinesis, but I don't think there are any telekinesis characters in MK11, so Ermac would be a really good fit, and I think his attacks would look extra cool with how awesome the graphics are in MK11. You could finally have all the cool glowing particles on screen, really show off all the cool effects that Ermac does with his telekinesis. And then in 4th place we have Cyrax and Sector. I actually do like both of these characters, and I worry that Frost, even though I do love that character, I worry she may have replaced them as the cyborg character in Mortal Kombat 11, which in MKX, believe it or not, Takeda was actually the cyborg character. His third variation had the lightsabers and all the cyborg attacks, so it seems like he was meant to be the initial cyborg character. Even though he wasn't actually cybernetic, he had their moves. Now of course later on we had Triborg, who was all the cyborgs squeezed together, and I think a lot of players want to see these characters in the game even more after story mode because both their character models are right there, and they want them to be playable, and they are playable if you modded the game, but they're just the MKX characters. It's like the exact same animations. So hopefully if they were DLC, they would be entirely different and have entirely different moves and animations, all that cool stuff. And then in last place we have Reptile, which makes me sad. I'm gonna be real with you, Reptile is my favorite character on this list aside from Melina. I think he's really cool because he's not just a humanoid, he's an entirely different species. And despite his name, he's not really a lizard, he's a lot closer to a dinosaur, he's a raptor. And I think that makes him very unique because aside from Devora, I'm pretty sure everyone in the game bleeds red at this point. Even Noob Saibot, who should bleed black or purple, he still bleeds red, so he's still mostly human, I guess. Whereas Reptile would bleed green and shows you how different he is from everybody else. Now if he was included, he'd most likely be a zoner, and I don't really want any more zoners in Mortal Kombat 11, but it is likely he could have a rushdown variation. He does have the slide, and in MKX he was actually a crazy mix-up monster, and he could also slow down time to do even more pressure, and his combos became insane in the corner, so he definitely does have the potential to be a rushdown character, and if that were the case, it would make him a lot more hype. Once again, he's the character I want most aside from Melina. I think he's very unique and very interesting. I understand in the past 2 games he was more of a jobber, kind of a henchman, everyone beats him up, but to me Reptile's always been cool. Alright, so there you have it everyone, the most requested characters for Kombat Pack 2. Please let me know which character you want most in the comment section down below. And then while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, it really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell, that way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.